What is up, guys? Hey, I got a quick announcement for everyone. Want to let you guys know that finally, after many requests over the years, finally have hats available on the website. I will link it in the description. Been working on these for a few months now. These are snapbacks. Of course, we've got the custom Gyutaku artwork on the patch. Mondo bass, as always, smoking a bluegill. And I'm pretty stoked about these. These came out really nice, actually a lot nicer than I thought. So like I said, they are available on the website as of right now. And I suppose the biggest question is, am I a hat guy now? Well, the answer is no, I'm still not. There's a bite. Oh man, wish I found this out a little earlier. Okay, good morning, guys. It is 6:30 a.m. and if you guys watched the previous video, you'll know that we are here in New York, the Finger Lakes region. Not for a long time, short trip, but definitely going to be doing some fishing while I'm here in New York. Our first trip out, kind of just outfitted the kayak, got it fine-tuned, prepped, unboxed some tackle, and got out on the old trusty canal just to get a feeler as to the bite in New York in the heat of the summer. And not an epic bite by any means, but did catch some on a frog, so that was fun. And it's crazy, but the trip is almost over. I actually have to catch a flight back to California tomorrow night, and you're probably wondering, have you not been fishing or what's the deal? Well, I actually have been fishing. To be honest, it's kind of been a little bit of a tough go around this trip. Traditionally, come here in New York in the spring, in May, June, the bite pretty much everywhere is phenomenal. Yeah, not this time around. Just to give you guys a brief recap of what's been going on fishing wise, I did go to a spot, kind of a local spot that I saw from the road. Driving by it, looked really good. Hadn't checked it in years. I had a lot of cheese, a lot of milfoil, eelgrass, and just looked really froggy, really punchy. Decided to take a little impromptu trip in the evening, go check it out. Did have one come up through the cheese, eat a frog. Thought that was a really good sign, but unfortunately, phone went off. Severe thunderstorm warning coming on up in about 15 minutes, so I got off the water real quick. And good thing I did too, because I guess there was tornado warnings nearby that night, which that's kind of strange for New York. Anyways, thought it was a good sign, and the next morning went back to that same exact area. The weather had cleared, figured there was potential for some greatness there, and not so much. Did catch one in the lily pads on a worm, and that was pretty much it. Spent 2 or 3 hours out there, not another bite, not another sign of life. So I guess those two fish in that little area were kind of random, and definitely not worthy of making a full video and lots of cast montages out there, because nothing really exciting happened. Anyways, yesterday decided to go to Cayuga Lake. You guys probably know Cayuga Lake. Actually, probably a lot more of you know about Cayuga Lake now, because big fishing news and big news of the summer. New York State record largemouth caught out of Cayuga Lake. I believe it was 12 pounds, 6 ounces. Absolute beast. And don't forget, this is the lake, the same lake that produced a New York State record smallmouth. I think it was around 9 pounds. But anyways, decided to go to Cayuga Lake yesterday morning at kind of a history spot. It's hit or miss. Big northern grass flat, does very well in the spring, and long story short, it was a big fat miss. I think I ended up covering a lot of water, getting one bite out in like 8 foot of grass on a worm, not even that big, and also maybe one bass, but it could have been a pickerel, blow up on a frog up in like 6 inches of water and some lily pads. So very tough bite, and that's kind of the deal with Cayuga Lake, especially in the summer or really any other time than the spring. They leave the bank, they're offshore, it's more of a deep grass bite out here. To me, it just doesn't suit my strengths. Yeah, that was the overview of the last 3 or 4 days. And like I said, only here for about another day and a half before I have to head back to California. And where do we find ourselves today? Well, we're at Cayuga Lake. I think I gotta give Cayuga Lake another shot. Yeah, I mean, we could go shallow. I'm not sure, but probably going to be trying to get offshore, fish some deeper stuff, maybe get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Guys, this trip has gone by fast. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be too crazy long and not a whole ton of fishing. Definitely a lot different than the spring. The bite is not as easy, but it is still a beautiful day in the Finger Lakes. It looks promising out there. I think we're going to have a nice day of fishing no matter what the bite's like. Hopefully we can get a few in the boat. Yeah, other than that, let's get the kayak loaded up, launched, and see what happens there out on Cayuga Lake.
Let's get started here. Weighted jig to start. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay, cranky? Really? Not a big one, but it's just as many as I caught yesterday in like 4 hours. I'll take bites. I don't need a 12-pounder to make, well, never mind, I'm not going to say anything like that, but right now, Cayuga Lake, for me, is tough, so I will take the bites. Alright, no skunk. I'm going to mark everything just to see if we can get any kind of pattern going, whether it's an area or a depth. Crankbait. Ooh. 2 fish in relatively quick succession. Oh, dang it. I mean, I'm not complaining, it's a fish. But we knew this would happen, right? New York. Get one of these dudes. Ay, come on now. Alright, that was gnarly. But the good news is if you catch one of those, the old pickerel, you're definitely around bass. Keep going with it. I can see this whole big buoy line marking the channel. Maybe they're all sitting on it. That'd be cool. So 2 bites out in about 10 foot, cranking. The last bait I thought we'd get bit on here in New York. I'm not a summertime cranker. Grass is something else. There we go. Oh my gosh. Another one? I'm gonna mark these still. I'm gonna mark these waypoints. Oh man, I don't feel like messing with you guys too much. Oof. Go on, buddy. Go on. Man, he's choking it. Jeez. Alright. Well, found some pickerel.
Alrighty, folks. It is not that late. You guys can probably guess what I'm doing. Still have my PFD on. It's 10:15. I can conclude one thing so far from this trip. I am not good at fishing Cayuga Lake in the month of August. I actually don't think I'm really that good at fishing lakes in general in the month of August. Just, yeah. I tried offshore pretty much all morning. Got that little bass and a couple pickerel. Mowed it around out there, looked at the graph, checked out some spots on the map, and I don't know what to say. I'm just not very good at it. But I am running out of time here in New York. Hopefully next year I can practice a little bit more this time of year in the summer, getting better at fishing offshore, deeper grass, but I don't really want to do that right now. So got a couple of options actually. Kind of a plan B, plan C deal. My plan B, we'll see if it works out or if it even looks good, is I'm actually gonna head up to the northern end of this lake. Wind is coming from the north, so it should be protected. Way up there is stupid shallow. I think maybe, and I'd have to make the call when we get there, but I think there's some grass over there, matted grass. It's dang shallow, so I don't know if there's gonna be a population of fish in the grass that we could trick with a frog or a punch. But there's also a canal which connects to the top of Cayuga Lake, and we could dip into there and try our luck there. I don't know. Disappointing for sure, but just goes to show lakes can fish very, very different depending on the time of year. Off to the next spot. We'll see. Oh boy.
And non-GMO verified sriracha. It's the sriracha slide coming at you from Lee. Come get it.
It cost you about $200 a month.
Alrighty, here we go. Back on the water. Let's see what happens. That's awesome. Oh gosh! That scared me. Come here. Oh, well, I might be doing this for a minute. Old buzzbait, huh? Thank you, sir. This is what I was missing from Cayuga Lake. I don't know if that means anything whatsoever. Don't even know at this point, but man, that fish, he wanted it. Whew. You don't get a bite for so long, and then all of a sudden, especially on a topwater, buzzbait of all things, you get bit. It takes you off guard. Get the drop shot, bro.
Boy, there are some fish up here. I was trying to do the wrong thing the whole time, get fancy. Try to go offshore. There's some shallow fish to be caught. Okay, buzzbait fish, frogfish. I can get on board with that. Ooh, actually some clean bottom. Oh, there might be some fish under these lily pads. This looks like it has some depth under there too. You're telling me there's not a single fish on these lily pads? I think the other thing that's surprising to me right now, I mean, this northern end has actually got cooler water temps than the main lake. The canal's got some cooler water dumping in, and it's kept this northern flat 78 degrees. I mean, usually in the summer, right, the fish leave those shallow areas because the water gets so hot, but water seems fine as far as temperature up here, so it's kind of surprising there aren't more fish here. I don't know. Cayuga Lake is weird. A good blow up. How'd you miss, dude? Come on, give me a second chance. Give me a second chance. Jeez. Little guy. Another one though. Missed the frog. That seemed real little. There had to be some fish in these pads. Tripped one of you. Alright, thank you for being in the pads. I knew there had to be one of you guys in there. Not a big one, but man, I'll take any bites today. Oh my god. That's how thick the pads are. Alright, well, is this gonna be another scenario where I'm like, got something figured out, and then nothing happens afterwards? It's junk fishing. Throw what looks good at the right time and you might get bit. Definitely no patterns today, like solid patterns. All fun bites though, right? Cranking some fish, buzzbait, frog, now a lily pad punch bite. No complaints. Someone touched me. Touch me again, please. Pull in the pinchers. Dude, I really feel like that's a bite. There's a bite. Oh, That's cool. That's a fun way to catch them. It's actually a decent one too. Come here, buddy. Yeah. There we go. You're not missing this bait. All right, thank you, lily pad fish. Oh, I have one, son of a gun. I was a little late on the trigger. Some fish in here. How many? I have no idea, but it's a couple. It's still on? What? Oh, I'm screwing up now. There'd be some fish in here. Oh my God, there's a lot of fish in here. Alright. Oh, he's still on? I think he is still on. He's got about 3 pounds of lily pads with him too. Just get them on top of a lily pad, they can't really do anything. I almost feel bad. Whew. Oh, this is cool. Alright, this is a pattern, a real pattern, or an area. It's a whole lot of bites. One technique, finally in one concentrated area. I'm sure there's a bunch of crawfish rooting around on the undersides of these pads, on the stems, and they're probably munching on those guys. We'll see. Just gonna keep rolling with it. A lot of these bites are like as soon as it lands, man. Like, it's not even bouncing up and down. They're just under these pads. Oh, that's a good one. Dude, that's a nice one. Oh, man. Oh, wish I found this out a little earlier. Better late than never. Solid fish, baby. Still on there. Still on there, sir. Oh my God. Just get them on the pads, you caught the fish. What the heck? Too much fun. Oh, no, it didn't. Dude, how much fun is this? This is awesome. They're all like solid fish in there too. Man, I I really wish there was another big patch or clump of lily pads like this around, but there's not. There's those ones over there. They're up real shallow. This actually has some depth, and they're actually kind of balled up so that they make a real good canopy. And the water's a little bit dirtier over here too. Just like all the ingredients are right. I don't see anything else like it. Which might be a good thing actually. If there was more of it, I might be fishing here all day.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit longer day than I anticipated. It is just about 2:30, and that is going to do it for our fishing in New York this trip around. Only 2 videos out of the whole deal, but like I mentioned, a shorter trip, but still very happy, very fortunate to be able to get there out on the water and experience the fishing in the summertime in the Finger Lakes. Went out this morning on Cuga, fished an area that I've really not fished much at all. Was looking for some deeper grass, finding some offshore fish where, you know, I do think if I found the right area, the right, I don't know, presentation, the right just deal, we could have had a really good day, but I just never found anything good. Had one little spot where we got a small bass and then the 2 pickerel, all on the crankbait, and that was essentially it. Really couldn't get bit on anything else. Those were the only bites or the fish at least caught over there. And after about 3 hours of searching and searching, I just kind of waved the white flag and said, you know what, I only got so many hours left here in New York before we got to pack up and go to California. It's gonna be our last time out, so let's roll the dice. Let's go way up north. We'll fish super duper shallow. Whether it's productive or not, no idea, but it's something I'm at least comfortable doing, and if there's some fish in the area, probably should be able to get a bite or 2. So loaded up, drove 10 minutes down the road all the way to the northern end, launched the kayak again, and it actually didn't take too long to get bit. The buzzbait bite, man, that was probably the crazy bite of the trip. Took me way off guard. Fish came out of nowhere, hit it right at the boat. Thought it was a good sign. A few minutes later, caught one under a dock on a frog, thinking, okay, north, shallow grass, it's the deal. And just like the previous spot where we thought maybe the crankbait was the deal, didn't get a single bite after that. Messed around for about an hour. Was almost going to call it quits. Believe it or not, I was almost going to call it quits around 12 o'clock today, but there's one big, massive pad field I saw in the distance. So I went over to check it. Had a couple miss the frog, but then I decided to actually cut the buzzbait off, tie on a 1 ounce tungsten weight, flipping hook, red pit boss, and flip the pad, see if anybody was underneath. And sure enough, there was some fish there. And that was definitely the saving moment of the trip, of the day. Having Cuga basically kick my behind. It still kicked my behind, but that little pad field salvaged the day, and really just throwing that thing in some of the thickest of pads. Man, these pads were huge, like trash can lid sized pads. Never seen them this big in New York, and they were so big that you'd have to use that 1 ounce weight to punch through them. And it was a great bite. It was a fun bite. A lot of those fish I could tell were sitting right below the pads, just using it as like a canopy, and as soon as that bait would come through, they'd eat it. And whoo, some fun fish to catch. I love setting back on a punch fish or a punch style fish, getting them out of the thick stuff, whether it's grass, lily pads, whatever. And it's crazy, those pads were so big and thick and dense that once I got some of them up on the pads, like the lily pads, they just like sit there. That goes to show how big those pads were. Yeah, ended up catching some decent fish. Good way to end it for sure. Interesting trip. It's over. Catching a flight back to California tomorrow night. The good news is, once we get back to California, I have one of my favorite, if not my favorite fishing tournament, kayak tournament of the year coming back up. Every August, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. A lot of the crew should be there. Got the Airbnb. Hopefully the fishing's good, but yeah, I'll save that for the next video. As always, I thank you for watching, for coming along on this New York trip, the short New York trip. Hope you enjoy the videos, and I will see you guys back in California.